We all commit mistakes in life. No one is spared from committing mistakes. If there is someone that you know that you think their life is perfect and they are not committing any mistakes, please show that person to me. My name is Botaki Hlalele, and I'm coming to you on this platform to just share tips about life, empowering you so that you can make better decisions that are going to improve the quality of your life, but also put you on a path that is going to assist you to achieve your goals. Let's get into the subject of mistakes. As I come to you through this platform, it will be a fallacy for me to portray as if I'm not making any mistakes. And it would be wrong of you to think that as I come on this platform, I'm pure and I don't commit mistakes. And I hope that I haven't even tried to portray myself as that type of person. I'm just using me as an example. There are a lot of people out there, for example, leaders in organizations, leaders in churches. All of those people, they commit mistakes at some point in their lives. But some of the mistakes that we commit as people, as individuals, they are minor. And they are mistakes that we can quickly learn from and then brush off because we can easily amend and go on with life. But there are some of the mistakes that are significant and they might be embarrassing to ourselves, to our character. And equally linked to that, some of the mistakes that we commit also impact the loved ones that are around us. And those are more significant. And we have to think about how are we going to go forward to make amends from our lives and become a better people. So you need to reflect and ask yourselves, the mistakes that you commit, are they frequent? Is it because of lack of judgment at that particular point in time? Is it because you were inattentive? Is it because you lacked knowledge in that particular area? And as a result of this lack of knowledge, you ended up doing mistakes. Because it could be mistakes that compromise your health. They compromise your financial status. They threaten the existence of the relationship that you have at this point in time. They might even threaten your employability. They might also affect your movement or your progression at your workplace in terms of your career as well. So the mistakes that we commit as individuals vary and they affect different types of our lives. But having said that, irrespective of the areas of life and the level of significance of those mistakes, the approach that I'm going to suggest to you, I believe that will apply as long as you are prepared to take the lessons and look at your mistakes genuinely and learn from them going forward. And actually, the first part of how we deal with them, I've already touched on it a bit, which is about acknowledging. Anything that is causing pain to your life starts with acknowledging. Once you commit a mistake and you want to call it something else, then you are not going to get to the nub of it. If a mistake has happened, you need to acknowledge that it was a mistake and treat it as a mistake that has happened. And in that way, you are already giving yourself power to be able to deal with that particular mistake. So it starts with acknowledging that a mistake has happened. And the second part of it is about taking ownership. Some of the mistakes as they happen might be due to other people. Maybe they did not give you the right information. Maybe they did not give you some data points that are going to help you to move forward and to arrive at a decision. But at the end of the day, you need to take ownership, especially with mistakes that are more personal, that are affecting your character. You need to take ownership of those mistakes. But the mistake that you can do as you try to deal with this mistake is to self-critique. If it's a mistake that you believe that is embarrassing to you, let's say you never thought that you will be late on 3 consecutive times into a meeting, and you feel embarrassed and you feel that your colleagues are going to judge you. Or let's say that you said something that your colleagues did not expect that it might come from your mouth, and you feel embarrassed. It does not help for you to critique yourself, for you to put yourself down and lament what has happened. So that is why it is connected to the first point of acknowledging that it has happened, and own up that from what you said came from your mouth. You cannot accuse other people as a result and say it is because of them that you committed that mistake. Because self-critiquing yourself, self-critiquing and always saying I was bad, this and this, is not going to help you to go forward. And equally so, blaming others for what you had a choice to stop before you can commit is not going to help you. You know, as Stephen Covey says, that there's a between a stimulus and a response, there's a choice. So there's always that choice before you can even utter something that you know that is going to embarrass you. You've got that choice to say, I'm not going to get into that space. So you cannot want to blame other people for the mistake that you have committed. So if you blame others, then you start to remove the power of solving that mistake from you, because now it is about other people. And then what you are ineffectively saying is that those people are the ones who should solve that mistake because it is not you. They have made you to do it. So those people who like to say, I did this because you made me to do it, already have given away the power and the opportunity to rectify the mistake that they would have committed at that point in time. The other way, which goes with ownership, that I see most of us do, that is not helping, is to talk nonstop about your mistake. Say if you have squandered your money on frivolous things or that you did not plan, it does not help for you to constantly talk about it. If you have done something that has led to the fall of your relationship, it does not help to constantly talk about it. Every person that comes, you start the story afresh. Once they leave, another person start, you start the story afresh. So you constantly talk about this. It is not going to assist you to deal with that mistake. And lastly, around the concept of ownership is about being desperate to solve the mistake. And this I see mainly with substance abuse, where people commit a grievous mistake this weekend and they say next weekend, I'm going to be so careful. I'm not going to do that mistake. Anything that you do from a point of desperation, it is going to have a boomerang effect. It's like when you push this bell and it goes with power, and when it comes back with the same power. So that is how it is going to happen with a mistake that you want to address from a desperation point of view. You don't have to be desperate. You just have to acknowledge that you have made mistake, take ownership, and put the solution that you want out there into the ether, and you start to realize things coming to fruition in the direction that you want. But the more you use desperation, those mistakes are going to happen again. So let's look at number 3, which is about the lessons that you need to derive from the mistakes that you have committed. But you won't derive those lessons until you do self-reflection. Sit down and ask yourself, how did I get myself here? I'm not saying this by mistake when I say, how did I get to this particular point? Is it an error in judgment, like I said earlier? Is it your lack of knowledge? Is it about you being inattentive? And once you start to reflect, you start to see if the mistakes that you're committing, are they taking you constantly, frequently away from your value system? Are they affecting the why of your life? Are they affecting the purpose and the passion that you want to derive from your life? But you cannot get to that point until you sit down and ask yourself and go through the process of self-reflection to ask yourself to say, how did I get to this point, and how am I going to get myself out of that situation? Because once you start to reflect, the lessons about yourself, learning more about yourself, getting to understand yourself better, become so much solidified. Unlike, as I said earlier, you start to blame other people. The other powerful thing to do as you go through this process of turning your mistakes around, which is the last point that I would like to make, is that what good comes out of these mistakes that you have done? It's odd. It seems like counterintuitive. It seems contrary to what I've said. But we make these mistakes, and we should be asking ourselves, what is the good that has come out of this mistake? And the good that you derive out of those mistakes would not have been realized if you did not commit that mistake. So let me be clear here. I'm not saying go out there and on purpose commit the mistake. But what I'm saying is that sometimes the mistakes that we commit, if we give ourselves the opportunity and the chance to dig deep into them, we might see value into those mistakes. I was talking to a friend of mine who says that they committed an embarrassing mistake. But out of this mistake, they realized how they are going to approach some of their social circles. They are going to approach some of fun activities that they are doing over the weekend. Because was it not for that mistake, you could have taken life as normal and and continue to do same things over and over on each and every weekend. But he was so grateful that that mistake happened, and then he realized on reflection that his life has been on that trajectory all along, but nothing of significance had happened up to that point that had challenged him to say, no more, I'm not going to do this. So what I'm saying is there is value that you derive from your mistake, but only if you reflect and slice and go deeper into it and try to find out what is this mistake trying to teach me about me and about my circumstances and my surroundings. So never wallow into your mistakes. You are still going to commit mistakes in this life. Like I always like to say, life is not a straight point. If life was a straight point, there wouldn't have been obstacles. There wouldn't have been challenges along the life. But because there are obstacles, there are challenges, and there are different unexpected things that will happen to our lives, we will commit mistakes. But let them be mistakes that we are not planning for. Let them be mistakes that happen because life has happened and it takes us by surprise, but not mistakes that happen just because we are constantly, that is the key word for me, constantly inattentive, we lack knowledge, and as a result, we repeat more and more of the same mistake over and over. Because once we start to do that, it's no longer a mistake, but it becomes part of who we are. It is a permission that we give to ourselves to embarrass ourselves, to compromise our characters. But if we learn from them, we won't be continuously embarrassing ourselves and compromising our characters. I hope there's a lesson out of what I'm sharing with you. And if this resonates with you, please walk with me on this journey. Let's educate others by sharing this content so that we can help each other in how we deal with mistakes when they happen in our lives. Until the next video, I continue to love you.